Divine Mother, bless this satsang. Inspire us to be your instruments for light, joy, and love. And use us also as your instruments. And send waves of light and grace and healing to this very needy world. Thank you for your presence in our lives. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we'll have a chant now.
Mormona Brahmara Shama Potta Nilkamoli Modlaje Mormona Brahmara Shama Potta Nilkamoli Kali Potta Nilkamoli Shama Potta Nilkamoli Kali Potta Nilkamoli Shama Potta Nilkamoli Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, 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 my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 Divine Mother, my Divine Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, 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 Divine Mother, my Divine Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, divine mother. Mormona Brahmara Kali Padani Kamali Mojoje Mormona Brahmara Shama Padani Kamali Kali Padani Kamali Shama Padani Kamali Padani Kamali Shama Padani Kamali.
Preparation now for meditation. Let's inhale, tense and vibrate our bodies. Grow the breath out. Inhale, tense and vibrate. Grow the breath out. And one last time. Tense and vibrate. Grow the breath out. Meditate now for about 10 minutes. Let's go deep right away. Offering the heart's natural devotion, awakens gently up to the point between the eyebrows, calling to God there, and feeling His response in our heart. shanti, shanti. This reading is from Whispers from Eternity by Paramahansa Yogananda, entitled, O Divine Heart, I will hunt for thee in the forest of my soul. O Divine Heart, I ran after thee equipped with the spears of selfish desire. Thou didst fly before me. I race after thee, shouting prayers loudly, but my voice drove thee from me by the gusts of my restlessness. The noise I made only frightened thee away. Stealthily then, I crept up to thee and cast the dart of my concentration. Alas, my hand unsteadily shook, and thou didst bound away. And as thou did so, however, thy hoofs echoed. Without devotion, thou art a poor, poor marksman. With firm devotion then, holding fast the dart of meditation, I crept forward. Thy divine hoofbeats came stealing back, but I heard thee whisper, I am beyond thy mental dart, far beyond. At last, despairing, I entered the cave of celestial love, and there at last, lo, thou, the divine heart, camest willingly into my heart. This reading is from the beautiful book, Treasures Against Time, that Paramahansa Yogananda wrote to his first disciples, Dr. Lewis and Mrs. Lewis. And this is Dr. Lewis writing. This is about a letter that Yogananda sent him. This was written November 23rd, 1923, a long time ago. But I have found throughout these years that the words which he has written have not changed. They have become more real to me. What he says applies to every one of us. This is part of his letter. Be not afraid, child of eternal lightning. March on, unperturbed, steady steps, elbowing through a million darknesses. Why? What is body? What is this passing show? They are gone. But the candles that you are lighting and burning in your Father's house will show you your path here and hereafter. There's a wonderful story about this man who met a devil. This is a happy ending. And so the devil said to him, perceiving that he had desires, and perhaps a lot of desires, he thought that perhaps he could get the best of this man. So he said, you know something, I can do anything for you, anything you want, any desire that you have, I can fulfill. But I must tell you that if you don't keep me busy, I'll devour you. Well, the man thought, what am I going to do about this? But he thought, I can give him so many things. I have so many desires. I'll keep him busy. So I shouldn't fear for my life. So he said, well, first of all, I'd like you to build me a nice house by the ocean. And so he thought this would take a while. But the devil reported back very quickly and said, okay, that's done, come and see. And the man saw it. It was absolutely beautiful. But he was a little nervous. My, that was way quicker than I had thought. He said, well, you know, what I also like is that big, huge yacht. So that anytime I want, I can travel with my family up and down the coast. This will be great fun for me. And so the devil said, fine. And in no time, the yacht was built. And the man thought, oh my gosh, this is very worrisome now. And so I said, well, you know what? What I would really like is to have you build a big village for me, because I would love to be, the great man in charge of the village and all of that. And so the devil said, fine. And quicker than ever, he did that. And on, with all of these desires, the devil performed with lightning speed. Well, at one point, while he was working on a massive project, which he thought would perhaps have taken him a few more minutes, he went to a nearby saint and said, I'm in real trouble. I really need your help. My life is at stake. I've unfortunately made a deal with the devil. And he explained that to him. And the saint smiled and said, actually, it's not a problem at all. I would be very happy to help you. And the man was greatly relieved. And so the man said, well, what is it? And the saint said, well, all you need to do now is plant a pole in the ground. And then tell the devil that you're thinking of other projects, but in the meantime, what you want him to do is climb up and down the pole until further notice. And so the man was overjoyed with this solution. And sure enough, the devil got very frustrated and ran away. And this is a wonderful story because it has many lessons, but a very simple one, of course, is that whether we are dealing with the restless mind, whether we're dealing with, of course, the tremendous challenges that we're all facing in the world today, whatever it might be, from the largest challenges to the very, very small ones, we need to remember that God and Guru are always there by our side, residing in our hearts, and that we should call on them. Yogananda's most advanced woman disciple, Gyanamanta, said, we don't pray to God enough, and we need to. It's very, very important, especially during these times. We had a Kriyabans retreat yesterday, and it was a joy to meditate with everyone in this fashion. And it reminded me, again, how close we all are in spirit. And here we were meditating all in our own homes. And nevertheless, you could feel the presence so strongly. And so it is every time that we meditate. We need to have that attitude that we're not just meditating for ourselves, that we're meditating for the entire world. And as we're able to do so, quite magically, our consciousness begins to expand. And we begin to understand the vital point that the meditation that we do, the seva that we do, all has to be expansive. It doesn't matter really what we do. It's, again, a matter of the instruments for the life. You know, I was thinking the other day, a bit humorously, that we've got so many tasks, whether it's at home or at work, that are so repetitive. And I was pondering that. We're always doing the dishes, and we're always doing the laundry, and we're always, commuting to work, not these days, of course, for most of us, and on it goes. All of this repetition. And I was thinking, there's a reason for that. Obviously, there's a reason for that. And we know from the many skills over the years that we've learned, whether as little children, learning to crawl, walk, speak, and so forth, and of course as adults, the many things that we've had to learn to negotiate in this world. So much repetition is needed. And so I was thinking, why? Why is this? And for those that don't have, and when we slip into this, we get ourselves in trouble too, then we can think, it's boring or monotonous, any of that. But that doesn't do us any good. It just drops our consciousness. Rather, we should take on the spirit again and again. We have so many opportunities to be the karma yogi, and to feel that God is flowing through us, even in the most mundane tasks. That's why Swami Kriyananda said that after meditation, this is a very important point, primarily, of course, in the morning, when it's time then to get busy with whatever is going to be occupying us for the day, that we should do very simple tasks. I believe he was mentioning like folding the laundry, something that isn't going to be mentally taxing, and that we can do and stay in that state of meditation. Just as I was saying at the retreat yesterday, from Master, find a little bubble of joy and puff on it. And so by extension, that stillness that comes from meditation, that calmness that comes from meditation, we want to expand that into our day so that more and more we understand why God has given us these very simple tasks. Many of the tasks the children themselves can do, so that we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's why I love this beautiful poem from Master. It's one of my favorites, The Divine Heart, and I think the favorite of many, that we need to go beyond the mind. We need to go into our hearts, and with that experience, then God comes. Guru comes very, very willingly, very joyously, because we haven't missed the point. And as we are experiencing this time of seclusion in our own homes, we have more time. It's a busy time for many of us, but little bits of time, a little bit more time here and there, at least we're not commuting, most of us, to really appreciate the importance of inner stillness, to appreciate the blessing and the gift that the gurus have given to us and continue to give to us. Because when you think of it, most people in this world, they're just not interested. Like Swami Kriyananda's brother, what a blessing it was to be the sibling of this great soul. But in later years, when they were adults, Swami Kriyananda had established Ananda, and his brother was a very competent man. He was a teacher, and teacher of the year, one of the years, and so forth. And so he went to his brother, and he said, he was the eldest, Swami was the eldest. He went to his younger brother, and he said, you know, you might be interested in meditation and all. I'd be happy to teach you. And he said, Don, as was his family name, he said, Don, frankly, I'm not interested. And I thought, my goodness, the incredible good karma to be born under the roof of this advanced soul. And even Swami's parents, his father and mother, met Yogananda too. And yet he wasn't interested. Well, does this make him a bad person? Obviously. There are so many good people, as Swamiji pointed out. Some people that are atheists are more sincere and more devoted than those that prescribe to be religious and do all kinds of things that are undharmic. And yet at the same time, they put up a good front, at least on Sunday at church. Well, God watches the heart and is not fooled by that kind of behavior at all. And so how fortunate we are that we have gotten to the point in our evolution where we are interested in working on this big project. And again, as Master said, regards the project of becoming saints, that it's a big job. But he said to encourage us, to comfort us, that he is there, as it's true of all the saints, for the long haul, as he called it. And yet at the same time, though it may take some time, we hope to get out this lifetime, God comes like a thief in the night. And we don't know when he will come. I've been thinking quite a bit about Swamiji's beautiful experience when he went to Assisi. And we have a great work there. And interestingly, Yogananda's patron saint is St. Francis. And so the country of Italy is so devotional. So many saints have spent time there. Indeed, there's saints there probably today. But Swami went to the little Portuncula, which was a chapel that St. Francis built many, many centuries ago. And it is very small, and it's quite fascinating because it's within this enormous basilica, protected, no doubt, from the elements and so forth, because this portuncula is so precious. And so numbers of us have been there numerous times, and the power there is really exceptional. And so Swami remarked when he was meditating there one time that he had experienced this sweetness. And he became very curious as to what was this vibration there in the little Portuncula, where St. Francis had spent so much time praying and meditating with his monks. And then it came to him that St. Francis never judged. And with that example, we too can begin more and more to roll up our sleeves and do what we can to simply accept ourselves, be ourselves, accept others, let others be themselves. And in that way, we're in a state of rest because we're not disturbed. Again, as Master said, if I have wealth, it's all right. If I don't have wealth, it's all right. If I have health, it's all right. If I don't have health, it's all right. Because he had that joy. And so for us, especially during this time, it's really, really important that we dive deep and seek joy with joy, as I was sharing at the retreat yesterday. Seek joy with joy. Find that little bubble of joy and puff on it. In the beginning, it may be difficult to find that joy because over the incarnations, we've been constantly fooled by our own desire, by Maya, that this pleasure is joy. But it's not joy. And that this little bit of happiness is joy. But it's not joy. As is love is unconditional, joy is unconditional. And as we go inside and make the effort, because that's what's required. It's very important. Swami was sharing that, yes, the formula is God does 50% of the work that's needed to help us relieve ourselves of all this karma. Guru does 25%, but our part is 25%, but that has to be 100%. But he said that some people will think, oh, it's only 25%, so let God and Guru do all the rest, and I can just sit on the couch and read magazines. It doesn't work that way. Self-effort draws grace. We need to work hard at this, but not in a way that creates tension. Swami, years ago, when he would demonstrate, the various meditation techniques, and of course he had a wonderful sense of humor, and he would say that some people think, and they get disenchanted with meditation, that meditation is this. It's, squinting your eyes and trying to see, the light at the point between the eyebrows, and it always got a great laugh because it's the opposite of that. Meditation is to relax, as I often think that really the only difference between us and the saints is that they are so relaxed, they've merged into omnipresence. And that, of course, is our destiny. And so to work more and more on finding that joy, because you know something, as Master said when Swami was concerned and said to him, sir, I really am afraid that I'm attached to good food. And so Master smiled sweetly. He said, that's nothing. When ecstasy comes, everything goes. Ecstasy, what is that? Samadhi, it's joy. And so for us, as Swamiji recommended, seek first God for joy, and then love. Because with joy, we find that it begins to give us everything that we need. We have the mental clarity. We have the growing compassion. We have the strength. We have the growing attunement. We have everything with that joy. Remember, with love, and we want that love, of course. Love can be conditional, and love can to draw us down our spines, and if we love someone and they don't meet our expectations, then we withdraw our love. All those kinds of things. But with joy, there's no concern, because joy is God, and God is joy, and that's who we are as His children. And that joy is to be found inside. And so it's why in meditation we have to have the right attitude. In Gyayamanta's beautiful book, God Alone, she writes that if she were to give any of the disciples one thing, and this is from a saint that was freed in this lifetime, she would give them right attitude. Because with right attitude, everything is in balance. We are happy as we want to be, as we like to say as yogis. What comes of itself, let it come. And of course, we do have our preferences. We still have our likes and dislikes, but we strive to just be happy for what God gives to us, knowing that never, you can test this, and I'm sure perhaps you have, that when a test comes, is the love gone? Has God withdrawn His love? Absolutely not. It's increased. If we go deep enough, we'll find it to be so. When the tests come and the mind is restless, and perhaps we've had days, perhaps weeks of meditation where we've been drifting and thinking about problems, has God's joy withdrawn? No. It's increased because He knows that we need Him very much during these times of testing. And it's why Swami Kriyananda said, we need to pray for disciples, because disciples get more than their share of tests, because as they build that great fire of yearning within the heart, then the Maya gets awakened, you might say. When people are in a worldly state, the Maya doesn't have to put out that much effort, because everybody is basically being completely enveloped with this great experience of duality. But with the devotee who is struggling, as the Master said, life is a struggle for joy all along the way. May I fight to win the battle on the very spot where I now am. For devotees, then the mind thinks, oh. My job, of course, the Maya doesn't need to remind itself of that, but it's very clear that it needs to keep us, that's its job, on the wheel of reincarnation. Knowing that one thought, I need to have a soulmate, or I need to have a bigger house, whatever it might be, we can spend decades going after these desires. And the Maya is very happy because, again, perhaps we've missed the point of our own existence. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And so for us, we have to understand that praying for our fellow brother and sister disciples, especially, we need to pray with real vigor, because the tests can be double, triple, and that's why people will get dissuaded from the path. And it's why Master said we need to go to the very end of life, seeking God. And he said, not just for sticking it out. We can't do that. And it has to be with the growing love for God, with that growing yearning for God, that growing attunement, with the hope that when we leave this world, most people leave this world from the medulla. The energy withdraws from the body and soars out through the medulla because they've lived a material life, just about themselves and so forth, their desires. But the yogi, we want to leave consciously. We want to leave superconsciously, the point between the eyebrows. And so it's why Master said the minutes are more important than the years, because the minutes begin to fold into, the moments begin to fold into the minutes begin to fold into the hours, and the days and the weeks and the decades And as we understand, when you're happy in the present, you have God, as Master pointed out. More and more, what are we doing? Life is a preparation for death. We are creating this great vortex so that when the final test comes, and no one is excused, we know that. When the final test comes, when death knocks on our door, as Master said, when death comes, all engagements are canceled. When that experience happens, then, as we have been doing our very best to be in God, then there is that hope. We'll soar out and be done with needing to reincarnate. We have Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Yogananda said to swiftly grow on the spiritual path, then live more at the spiritual eye, as long as it's engaged with the heart. That's important. So as we're at the point between the eyebrows, we feel a tug on the heart. And when you have the heart's love, as he pointed out, along with the will at the point between the eyebrows, that combination, extraordinarily, is joy. And we find that more and more. Joy lubricates the system. Joy protects us. Joy gives us compassion for our own foibles and for the idiosyncrasies of others. Joy does it all. And with joy, we find that we're not having to battle the restless mind. You know, these great ones, you know, when we were with Swami over the years, and many different ones here in India, of course, experienced his presence, many times people would come with questions, because there would be time to ask him questions at various satsangs, and they would be amazed. This happens so often, with myself included. You'd have all these questions, perhaps you'd even write them down. But after the satsang, because we were bathed and washed in his vibration of joy and the presence of God, we forgot the questions. Or if we had written them down, then we had no desire to take them out of our pocket, because we were totally satisfied and healed by that joy. And that's what the saints have to give to us, and that's why we go on pilgrimage, to remind ourselves of that joy. The saints, again, don't come, obviously, to say to us, you know, we've made it and too bad for you. That's the opposite. That's the opposite of why they come to this earth. They come to give to us what they have. And they are very, very keen. That's why Yogananda said he'll come back 1 trillion times. That's a very, very big number, even for one person. Such is their compassion, born of joy. And so in the beginning, you know, it's kind of like digging for a gold mine, and having that confidence after perhaps looking around for many years for a gold strike, we feel confident that this is the spot. And so we begin digging, knowing that one more shovelful and we'll be rich. And so it is. As we meditate, as we do Kriya, as we do our Seva, we have to know that one more good thought, one more yearning for God, and all of a sudden, that river of joy will begin to well up. And as it does, then we begin to see, okay, now all I have to do is, again, now that I've discovered that bubble of joy, is to stay vigilant, because that is so precious. It needs to be protected. And so, for us, during this very, very unusual time, where we're all cloistered together. As a matter of fact, recently when we were talking to Varshi, the head of the Kriya ministry, he said that he was talking initially of Kriya online, but he said now he'd come up with the thought, Kriya in your home. And I thought, wow, that is a perfect description. We'll be doing Kriya too for those that are eligible and want to renew their vows in July. Kriya at home, until, of course, we can all see one another. And so we are at home now. And so let us take this time to wisely choose God and Guru again and again, and build our attunement, so that when the lockdown is over, then we have been strengthened and we are more fit to be instruments for the divine. discourse is all that we care about. So, joy to you, God bless you, and we'll now have the song.
The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend. The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend.
Now we'll have the affirmation. And let's close our eyes, sit up straight, concentrate deeply at the point between the eyebrows, and feel the presence of God and the power of your soul as we affirm together to bring light into this world. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. Let us fill the world with God's light. A little more quietly, God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. Let us fill the world with God's light. And now in a whisper, God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. Let us fill the world with God's light. Now silently, with all of your energy, at the point between the eyebrows, God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hand, with the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and disease with health. Let us fill the world with God's light. And now let's close with a healing prayer. Include all of our disciples, fellow disciples, brothers and sisters on the path, seekers of light. Include all those walking in darkness temporarily in this world. Feel a great calm coming over this earth as we ask Divine Mother and the great masters to send their light and peace through us as we send out this healing prayer to all souls everywhere in this universe. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in their bodies, in their minds, and in their souls. Oh, let's pray together. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Friend beloved God,
Friend, beloved God,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Lord Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Sri Yukteswar,
and our beloved Guru,
and our beloved Guru,
our Mahansa Yogananda,
our Mahansa Yogananda,
beloved friend Swamiji,
beloved friend Swamiji,
saints of all religions,
saints of all,
we humbly bow at Thy feet. May Thy love shine forever
may Thy love shine forever
on the sanctuary of our devotion,
on the sanctuary of our devotion,
and may we be able
and may we be able
to awaken Thy love
to make Thy love
in hearts everywhere.
in hearts everywhere.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Go out with joy.